All right, so um, you sent over a ton of WWE stuff this time. Wow.
Yeah, looks like we're really going deep on this one, huh?
Definitely a deep dive into the squared circle.
It's always interesting to look at wrestling,
Right.
because it's not just the matches themselves.
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole storytelling aspect.
Yeah.
The characters, how WWE responds to what the fans are into.
Yeah, you've got that right. And from the looks of all this stuff, articles, podcasts, it seems like WWE is at a pretty pivotal point right now.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we've got Roman's historic championship reign, right?
Yeah.
All this buzz around the women's division.
Yeah,
And some really cool new storylines that seem to be emerging.
definitely.
Where do we even begin with all this?
Well, I mean, you mentioned Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
He's kind of unavoidable right now.
Yeah.
He's been dominant, but you can kind of feel the audience maybe getting a little restless.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of will he ever lose starting to creep in. But isn't that kind of the point of a long title reign, like to build up the drama?
It could be, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's what we call long-term booking in wrestling.
Okay.
Think of it like a TV series.
All right.
They have planned arcs that unfold over multiple episodes or even seasons. And WWE might be going for a record-breaking run with Roman.
Interesting.
Maybe even longer than Brock Lesnar's streak back in the day.
Wow.
But there's a catch. They have to keep the audience invested.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, that anticipation can turn into frustration pretty quickly.
Makes sense.
So it's a delicate balance.
So how do they keep things fresh then?
Well, a few strategies they use.
Okay.
One is to bring in challengers who feel like they could actually win,
Oh, right.
to make the audience believe, even for a moment, that Roman might lose.
Oh, like that near fall with Big E at Survivor Series.
Exactly. That was a perfect example.
The whole crowd went nuts. I thought Big E had him for sure.
Exactly. And those moments are crucial for keeping that tension high. Another thing they do is use interference or outside factors to create some uncertainty.
Oh, right.
You remember Jey Uso's reaction after that Big E match?
Wait. Yeah, he looked kind of conflicted.
Yeah.
Almost like he was doubting Roman's ability to stay on top.
Exactly. And that's the subtle storytelling that can pay off big time.
Interesting.
It plants that seed of doubt in the fans' minds.
Like cracks in the bloodline.
Right. And they start to wonder, is it really as unbreakable as it seems?
So it's not just about Roman winning or losing, it's about the whole journey.
Precisely.
The twists and turns that keep us guessing.
That's what keeps people hooked.
And that's the question for anyone watching. Is it working for you?
Right. Are you still into Roman's story, or are you starting to feel that fatigue?
You know what? They're doing a pretty good job keeping Emmy invested, but let's move on for now.
Sounds good.
Let's talk about the women's division because there's a lot of energy there right now.
Oh, yeah, tons.
Especially with Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan going at it.
Definitely.
This is what gets me pumped about wrestling, that feeling that anything can happen.
Absolutely. And to really appreciate this rivalry, you got to go back to their roots.
Oh, okay.
Remember the 4 horsewomen of NXT?
Oh, yeah. Becky, Liv, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks.
Yep.
Their matches back then were incredible.
They were a major force in elevating women's wrestling, for sure.
Yeah, they brought this athleticism, these storylines, this intensity we hadn't seen before.
Right, and that shared history makes their current rivalry even more interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
It's personal, it's years in the making, and it's got that,
What?
thicker than oatmeal tension, as one of your podcasts put it.
Oh my God, I love that line.
Right.
But it's true. There's this intensity there.
Yeah.
Like they're about to explode.
That's the power of long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
WWE can build on these established relationships, create rivalries that feel deeply personal.
So now I'm curious. Do you think Liv is ready to take the title from Becky? And what is it about those underdog stories that we as fans find so compelling?
Those are some great questions.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to see Liv overcome the odds, but I'm not sure she's quite there yet.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
We're on this journey with her, and the outcome is uncertain.
And that uncertainty is what keeps us watching.
For sure. Speaking of uncertainty, let's talk about Sasha Banks.
Oh, yeah.
She was noticeably missing from Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of speculation about why.
Is she injured? Are there issues behind the scenes? What's going on?
It's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah.
And this is where the real world collides with the world of wrestling.
Right.
These are real people.
Yeah.
And sometimes things happen that affect what we see on screen.
It's easy to forget that.
It is.
But speaking of things we do see, there's one rising star I'm really excited about, Ermas.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is an absolute giant.
He's got the wow factor for sure.
Totally. I'm curious to see what he can do.
Well, he reminds me of Andre the Giant in terms of sheer size and presence.
Right.
But, You need more than just that to succeed in this business.
So what else does he need?
He needs guidance, someone to help him refine his skills, develop a persona, and connect with the audience.
And luckily for him, he's got AJ Styles in his corner.
He does.
A legend in his own right, acting as Omos's manager.
That's a smart move.
It is.
It could be a masterclass in wrestling. AJ passing down his knowledge, shaping Omos into a force.
But it's not just about size. It's about connecting with the fans and telling a good story, right?
Exact. Speaking of good stories, we got to talk about Edge.
Oh, yeah.
This guy has gone through a dramatic transformation.
He has.
From the ultimate good guy to embracing this dark, brutal side.
That concerto on Finn Balor was intense.
It was classic character development done right. Think about it. Edge was the hero everyone cheered for.
Yeah.
And now he's this ruthless, almost unhinged character.
It's shocking.
It is. It subverts expectations, creates moral complexity.
He's unpredictable now.
Keeps the audience guessing.
And Finn Balor seems like the perfect opponent for this new Edge.
They both have that brooding intensity. It's a great matchup.
I can't wait to see how that rivalry plays out.
Me neither. But while we're on the subject of unexpected pairings, did you ever think we'd see Randy Orton and Riddle as a successful tag team?
Never in a million years. RK Bro makes no sense on paper.
Right.
But somehow it works.
It does.
It does.
It's a testament to their individual talents and their chemistry.
You've got Orton, the stoic veteran, and Riddle, this laid-back, goofy enigma.
It's comedy gold.
It is, but they're also legitimate champions.
Right. They can back it up in the ring.
They've got that perfect blend of entertainment and athleticism.
For sure.
But with all this talk about individual wrestlers and storylines, it brings up a bigger question. What's the overall state of WWE right now?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does feel like things are changing. There's this energy in WWE right now, you know? And a lot of it comes down to the talent.
Yeah.
You've got veterans like Roman and Edge who are reinventing themselves.
Right.
And then this new wave of guys like Braun Breaker who are ready to take over.
Yeah. That mix of experience and fresh talent is what makes things so exciting.
For sure. And speaking of exciting,
we
were talking about NXT earlier.
Those War Games matches were wild.
They were insane.
Do you think we'll see more of that kind of hardcore stuff on the main roster?
It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
WWE has borrowed ideas from NXT before, especially when they work.
Right.
War Games is a spectacle, you know.
It is.
It lets those multi-person rivalries really explode.
Yeah.
But the main roster is a different beast.
True.
Different audience, different style.
Yeah.
They'd have to adapt it carefully to make it work.
That makes sense. It can't just be a straight copy-paste.
Right. But hey, maybe that's a good thing.
Oh, how so?
Sometimes those limitations can lead to even more creative ideas.
That's true.
So speaking of creativity, we were talking about the women's division earlier.
Right, with Sasha Banks out?
Yeah, there's a real chance for someone to step up and become the next big star.
Who do you have your eye on?
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah.
There's so much talent.
I know, right?
But I'm really intrigued by Rhea Ripley.
Oh, yeah.
She's got that power, that intensity, not afraid to push the limits.
Totally. I think she could be huge if they give her the right opportunity.
Ripley's a great choice. She's got that it factor, that charisma you can't teach.
But her in-ring skills are amazing.
Oh, for sure. She could fill that void left by Sasha Banks.
Right.
Maybe even surpass her.
Now, that would be something.
It would.
But it makes you wonder how much of a wrestler's success is their talent versus how much is WWE's booking decisions.
That's the eternal debate in wrestling.
Right.
It's a combination of factors.
Okay.
You need the talent, of course.
Yeah.
But also the right storylines, the right opponents, the right push from WWE to really connect with the fans.
Like a recipe.
It is. You need the right ingredients in the right amounts.
And sometimes the most unexpected ingredients create the best dish.
Exactly like RK Bro.
Right.
No one saw that coming.
Totally.
But it worked.
It did. It did.
It shows you the power of individual talent and finding that chemistry.
Yeah. And RK Bro also highlights something else.
What's that?
Tag team wrestling.
Ah, yes.
Do you think they're giving tag teams enough attention these days?
Good question.
Sometimes it feels like tag team wrestling is kind of in the background, like filler between the bigger singles matches.
It doesn't always get the spotlight it deserves.
Right.
But when it's done right, tag team wrestling can be just as exciting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I've got the teamwork, the strategy, the double team moves.
So it adds a whole other layer to it.
It does.
And let's be honest, sometimes those tag team storylines are even more dramatic
Oh, absolutely.
than the singles feuds.
Tier soap opera.
All the betrayals, the shifting alliances, the unexpected partnerships.
It's great.
Tag team wrestling lets WWE explore different relationships and create storylines you wouldn't see in singles competition.
For sure. And it's a great way to elevate newer talent, too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Give them a chance to shine alongside the veterans.
It's like a stepping stone.
It is a way to gain experience, build a fan base.
Right before breaking out on their own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe the key for WWE is finding that balance.
Okay.
Showcasing the single stars,
Yeah.
but also giving tag teams the space to thrive.
It's all about finding that sweet spot.
It is. But there's another element we haven't talked about yet.
What's that?
The fans.
Oh, right.
How much influence do you think the audience has on WWE's booking?
Ooh, that's a good one. We know they pay attention to social media, crowd reactions, merch sales,
You're right.
but how much do they actually listen to what the fans want?
It's a tricky balance.
Yeah.
They can't just give the fans everything they want.
Yeah.
That would be chaos.
Imagine booking matches based on Twitter polls.
It'd be a mess.
Total mayhem.
But they can't ignore the fans either.
Right.
They have to tap into that passion, that enthusiasm,
Yeah.
while still maintaining their own creative vision.
So it's about listening, but also trusting their own instincts.
Exactly. It's a collaboration, even if it doesn't always feel like it.
Right.
WWE's always trying to gauge the audience's reaction,
Yeah.
adjust their course, keep people entertained.
But sometimes it feels like they get stuck in their ways,
It happens.
relying on those same old formulas and predictable outcomes.
That's a fair criticism. There are times when WWE feels a bit too formulaic.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's something to be said for those familiar tropes.
Oh, yeah.
They provide comfort, familiarity.
Like a warm blanket.
Exactly. A connection to the history of wrestling.
It's like watching your favorite holiday movie.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen, but you still enjoy it.
Exactly.
There's a reason those classic stories endure.
Mhm.
But the challenge for WWE is balancing that nostalgia with the need for innovation.
Okay.
You got to keep those old school fans happy,
Right.
but also bring in new audiences who might not get those tropes.
It's a tightrope walk.
It is. But when they get it right, it's magic.
Like Kofi Kingston's championship run.
That was amazing.
That was a story driven by fan passion.
Pure emotion.
It captured the whole wrestling world's imagination.
It was a perfect example of how WWE can tap into that energy.
Can create something special.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for every Kofi Mania, there are tons of storylines that fall flat.
So what's the secret?
Yeah,
How do they create those moments that really connect with the fans?
that's the million-dollar question, and there's no easy answer.
Right.
But if I had to guess,
Yeah.
I'd say it comes down to authenticity.
Authenticity.
Yeah, what do you mean? The best storylines are the ones that feel real.
Okay.
They tap into real emotions.
Right.
Let the wrestlers show their personalities.
Mhm.
When the audience believes in the story, when they're invested in the characters,
Yeah.
that's when the magic happens.
So it's not just about the moves.
Right.
It's about the emotion, the connection,
You get it? That's what separates the good from the great.
the forgettable from the unforgettable.
Yeah.
I like that it's not about the moves. It's about the emotion.
It's about making us feel something.
Yeah. And that's why wrestling is so powerful.
It is.
It can make you laugh, cry, jump out of your seat.
And sometimes it could even make you think.
We've been talking a lot about the business side of WWE, the
Yeah.
strategies, the decisions.
Right.
But we can't forget that wrestling is also about storytelling.
You're absolutely right. At its core, wrestling is about telling stories,
Yeah.
about creating characters we connect with, taking us on a journey.
And those stories can be really complex.
Oh, they can.
You've got heroes, villains, underdogs, champions, betrayals, alliances.
It's like a soap opera.
But with more spandex and body slams.
Exactly.
And like any good soap opera, it keeps us guessing.
Gets you hooked.
Speaking of guessing,
Yeah.
let's look at the big picture.
Yeah.
Where do you see WWE going in the next year or two?
That's a tough one.
I know it's impossible to say for sure.
It is, but I think we'll see them continuing to experiment. Trying to find that balance.
Right.
Appealing to the core audience, but also attracting new fans.
Do you think they'll lean more into the entertainment side?
Like the over-the-top stuff.
Yeah, or will they try to make things more realistic?
More focused on the athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say. I think they'll try to do both.
Okay.
They'll always have those larger-than-life characters, those
Uh-huh.
crazy moments.
Yeah.
That's part of what makes wrestling unique.
It's that escapism.
Exactly.
Stepping into a world where anything is possible.
But I also think they'll try to incorporate more grounded storylines,
Okay.
more character development, more emphasis on in-ring skills.
So a little something for everyone.
I think that's the goal.
To create a product that appeals to a wide range of fans.
Yeah, make everyone happy.
But with so many different opinions out there,
Right.
how do they decide which direction to go in?
It's a balancing act, for sure.
Yeah.
They have to look at fan reactions, merch sales, TV ratings, social media.
Sounds like a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, it's about creating something people want to see.
Exactly.
Giving them something to cheer for, something to boo, something to talk about.
That's what it's all about.
Creating those moments that stay with us.
The ones you remember.
Long after the show is over.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what makes wrestling so special.
It is.
It's a form of entertainment that can make you feel so many things.
From joy and excitement to sadness and anger.
It runs the gamut.
And sometimes it can even make you think.
Sometimes you got to use your brain.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
We talked about the business side of WW, the storytelling, the characters, the fans.
It's all connected.
But there's one question I keep coming back to.
What's that?
What does the future hold for WWE?
The million-dollar question.
I know, right?
If I had a crystal ball, I'd be a rich man.
Me too.
But what I can say is this.
Okay.
The future of WWE is in good hands.
Yeah.
They've got a talented roster, passionate fans, and they're willing to adapt and evolve.
So we can't predict the future?
Nope.
But we can be sure it's going to be exciting.
Oh, absolutely. The world of wrestling is always changing.
That's what keeps it fresh.
It does.
And who knows, maybe some of what we're seeing now
yeah,
will turn into something truly remarkable down the line.
that's the beauty of it. We get to watch it all unfold.
The storylines, the characters, the whole landscape of WWE.
It's a journey, and we're all along for the ride.
Well said. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Pay attention to the details.
The details.
No.
What do you mean?
The subtle stuff.
Like what?
The facial expressions, the little nods, the words they choose. Often it's those small things that reveal the bigger picture.
Okay.
They foreshadow what's to come.
Interesting.
They give us a glimpse into the minds of the wrestlers and the creative team.
So it's not just about the big moments.
Right.
The title wins the betrayals.
It's about the whole tapestry. The storylines, the characters, the emotions.
It's about those little things that make wrestling so rewarding.
It's like a treasure hunt.
It is.
Looking for clues.
To uncover the deeper story.
And that's something we can all do.
Right.
Whether we're casual fans or diehards.
It's part of what makes wrestling so fun to talk about.
Yeah, there's always something new to discover.
Always something to debate.
Something to appreciate.
It's a never-ending conversation.
And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
It does now.
Yeah.
As we move into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's shift gears a bit.
All right.
We've talked about the present and future of WWE,
Right.
but what about the past?
The past.
Yeah, I want to explore the legacy of WWE,
Okay.
the history that made it what it is today.
Interesting.
What are those key moments, the iconic matches, the legends?
Oh, wow. There's so much to choose from.
There is.
Where do we even begin?
Why don't we start with the Attitude Era?
The Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Now that's a blast from the past.
It was a wild time.
Oh,
A time of explosive growth for WWE.
right.
They pushed boundaries, embraced controversy, captivated audiences with those edgy storylines and characters.
Those were the days.
They were.
Yeah, the Attitude Era for sure was a different time.
They weren't afraid to push the envelope, you know?
So for someone who didn't live through it, what made it so different?
Well, wrestling had always had good guys and bad guys, right?
Yeah.
But the Attitude Era blurred the lines a bit.
Oh, so?
Like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
He was technically a bad guy,
Okay.
but he was super popular
Yeah, everyone loved Stone Cold.
because he had this rebellious spirit, this anti-establishment attitude
Right, right.
that really resonated with the audience.
So it was tapping into what was going on in culture at the time.
Exactly. The late 90s had this feeling of rebellion, you know,
Yeah.
a rejection of authority, and WWE captured that perfectly.
With these characters who were brash, outspoken, didn't play by the rules.
Right. They weren't afraid to challenge the status quo.
And it worked, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, big time.
WWE's popularity exploded during that era.
Ratings went through the roof. Merchandise sales were huge.
Wow.
Wrestlers like The Rock and Stone Cold became global icons.
It put WWE on the map.
It did, but it wasn't without its critics, of course.
Oh, right. Some people thought it was too much.
Yeah, some people thought it was too violent, too offensive.
I can see that.
And looking back, some of it hasn't aged well.
Times have changed.
They have. It's a reminder that things are always evolving.
Right. What was edgy then might seem tame or even problematic now.
Exactly. So the question is, what lessons can WWE learn from the Attitude Era?
Yeah, can they recapture that magic, or was it just a product of its time?
I think the key takeaway is authenticity and relevance.
Okay.
The Attitude Era worked because it reflected the culture of the late 90s.
Right.
If they want to do that again today, they need to connect with today's fans.
Understand what they care about.
Exactly. Their values, their interests, their anxieties.
It's got to be relevant to what's happening now.
It does. But what about you? What stands out to you about the Attitude Era?
Oh, man, so many things, but honestly, it's the characters for me.
Yeah.
They were so well-defined, so larger than life.
They were unforgettable, that's for sure.
They were, and those rivalries.
Oh, yeah.
Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon, The Rock versus Triple H.
Epic.
The storylines were just as good as the matches.
And they often went beyond the ring, you know, blurred the lines between fiction and reality.
It kept everyone guessing.
It did. It was a wild time.
It was no wonder people still talk about it.
It was a special era.
It was, but enough about the past.
Okay.
Let's bring it back to the present for a minute.
Sounds good.
We've talked about Roman, the women's division NXT, but there's one more thing I want to touch on.
What's that?
The whole presentation of WWE,
Oh, yeah.
the production, the music, the commentary, the spectacle of it all.
It's all part of the experience.
It is what sets WWE apart.
They're masters at creating these grand theatrical productions. They draw you in, make you feel like you're part of something special.
It's like a rock concert meets a sporting event.
With a little soap opera mixed in.
Exactly, and it's all designed to get a reaction out of you.
It is the music, the lighting, the camera, angles, the commentary.
It all works together.
To enhance the drama, create those big moments.
They've really perfected it, haven't they?
They have. It's one of the reasons they've stayed so popular.
They know how to put on a show.
They do. They understand the power of presentation.
Right.
Creating those unforgettable experiences.
But it's not just about the spectacle, is it?
No, of course not.
It's got to be more than that.
It has to be.
It's about the storytelling, the characters, the athleticism.
You're right. Without those things, the spectacle wouldn't matter.
It's like a symphony.
It is. You need all the parts working together.
To create something truly beautiful.
And that's what makes WWE so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's complex. It's multi-layered. There's always something new to see.
Well, I think we've officially reached the end of our deep dive.
We have covered a lot of ground.
We talked about Roman, the Attitude Era, storytelling, the spectacle.
Review, it's been a whirlwind.
It has, but a fun one.
It has. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely. I've learned so much
Oh, they too.
about how WWE works, the decisions they make the fans.
It's a whole other world.
It is, and I have so much more appreciation for what they do.
And it's important to remember that wrestling is more than just entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so.
It's a community,
Okay.
a shared experience that brings people together.
It's a form of escapism.
It is a chance to step outside of reality.
Forget about your troubles for a while.
And immerse yourself in this world of heroes and villains.
Larger-than-life characters and unforgettable moments.
Well said. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Wrestling is an art form.
Okay.
And like any art form, it's open to interpretation.
That's a great point. There's no right or wrong way to experience it.
Exactly. It's about what it means to you.
The emotions it evokes, the stories it tells.
So keep exploring, keep watching, keep learning.
Keep those conversations going.
The world of wrestling is always changing.
There's always something new to discover.
And maybe you'll be the one sharing your insights on the deep dive one day.
That would be awesome. We're always looking for passionate fans.
We are. Until then, keep watching, keep learning, keep those conversations going.
And to you, dear listener, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into WWE.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.